other side has not been able to provide any real tangible proof and evidence of whatever accusations they're levying. It's really important that we pay attention to a lot of spirits that we're dealing with and pay attention to who's speaking, how they're speaking, and their motives behind why they're speaking. We're going to shed light on that here today. And also, we have some information that's being revealed coming from JFK files, something I was supposed to cover the last live stream, but I did not get the chance to. So I'm going to cover it here today. Shouldn't take too long. We're going to dive deep into it. As you know, here at the Warsheep Podcast, we like to shed light on these things because light creates that understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience creates unity. So let's get unified in the spirit, y'all.
Is the sheep preaching hate? He says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. Somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. The ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
All right, y'all. So, yeah, we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. And I really hope that you guys are doing well out there today. We're going to get some shout outs real quick. All my Rams, all my righteous alpha men, please drop a ram in the chat for me, please. And all my elegant women who are exceptional, please drop a sheep in the chat for me, please. We're going to do some shout outs here real quick to get this thing rocking and rolling. Get this ball started, man. We got so much we got to cover. And it's going to be a great live stream, y'all. I'm trying to tell you now. So you guys get ready. We're going to go ahead and get this thing knocked out. Sister Thomas, welcome in. Good to see you, my sister. Seasons to Journey, good to see you. Welcome in. Shalom, shalom. My mother, welcome in. Sister Jennifer Brown, good to see you. Bless you, bless you. Shalom, shalom. Good to see you. All right. Womanati, welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you. Shalom, shalom. Sister Heidi, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing, Sister Heidi. Got the sheep in the chat. Elegant women who's exceptional. Reggie, brother Reggie, welcome in. Ram in the chat. The Honorable Pastor Rufus is in the house, y'all. Y'all showing some love. Welcome in. Bless you. Shalom. Brother Charlie, welcome in, my brother. My brother, welcome in. Brother Odell, good to see you in this thing. Bless you. Sister Angelica, welcome in. Angelica, right? Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that, but welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Shalom, shalom. Good to see your sheep in the chat as well. Will Gomez, brother Will Gomez, welcome in. Good to see you. My brother Robert, good to see you, my brother. Bless you, bless you. My mother, Mama Shay, Sister Shay, welcome in. Good to see you. Let's get this ball rocking and rolling, y'all. I appreciate you guys dropping the rams and sheeps in the chat. Honestly, I think that we all have a thing, right? It's to where how we came into the knowledge of the truth of being a Hebrew Israelite or the bloodline lineage of that. You know what I mean? We all came into this knowledge of truth. We all came into sort of an understanding, right? That historically, that there was something off about how things played out when it came to the people who are currently trotted out of the land of Israel currently, right now. It was something off about how that kind of played out and how it kind of was staged in such a way, right? And I'm not saying that what they went through is completely fake or anything like that. Whatever the atrocities are perpetuated on them from the Nazi regime, it was completely unethical and it was absolutely wrong. And I believe it was a very poor decision that was made by leadership in that time, right? But the way that it all played out, it almost made it seem as though they may have been the chosen people. It almost made it seem as though that the chosen people within the book is the ones that they were actually speaking on. You know what I mean? Like the way that it was staged, the way it was set up, the way it was executed, it almost seemed as though that they fit that book. Now, throughout history, you were given bits and pieces as to what truly was going on during that time and why the Nazi regime decided to do what they were doing. Because, of course, pressure is the only thing that really bursts pipes, right? Like if there's no pressure, then the pipes aren't going to burst. So pressure creates or burst pipes, right? Pressure creates the diamonds. Whatever it may be, you need some sort of force in order to have a reason for the creation. Whatever happened, there has to be some sort of conflict resolution, right? Or action reaction to something. They can't just be doing things off of nothing. Now, I remember I did a specific live stream and which I played a recording that was translated as far as what I believe Hitler was saying during a speech and a lot of things that he was speaking on, as to where a lot of us are speaking on a few things, some of the same things today. Now, let me be fully disclose this: that of course his decision to do a mass genocide of a peoples, that right there, I will never condone and stand by, or would I support. It was a poor decision on his part. But the things that he was talking about during that time, as far as what the Jewish individuals from Ashkenazis were doing, right, in regards to trade and the way that they would barter, as far as some of those things being corrupt, some of those things being very underhanded or blackmailish, you know what I mean? Like, and things of that nature, right? Things that is kind of crooked in ways, you know what I mean? These were some of the things that he was speaking about during some of his, I guess, public speakings. And one thing that I really want to cover is, you already know, Revelations. In the book of Revelations, I would say specifically 2:9 and 3:9, it speaks of a particular set of people who claim to be Jews but are not, right? And I believe Yahshua or Jesus made it a point to remind us, right, twice, and basically letting us know that they are the synagogue of Satan. You know what I mean? And that's one of the biggest things that I've always hung on to is like how, you know what I mean? Even describing that they would be rich, he understands their suffering, but thou art rich, you know what I mean? Things of that nature, kind of go into more details of it. And I believe that some research has recently resurfaced or surfaced, right? And it all sparked from the JFK files being released. Now, the JFK files, he was actually going after corporations like APAC, right? Like IPAC. This is a Jewish corporation that does not have to register here in the United States. And since they don't have to register here in the United States, they don't have to actually give up books, right? They don't have to show their books, show where their resources are going to, things like that. They don't have to file taxes. They don't have to do any of these things, right? Because they're tax exempt. They're a 501c3 as well. So they can operate here in this country under the radar without any regulations, without anybody checking them. In fact, they're heavily involved. IPAC is heavily involved in our political system, and they pay a lot of our politicians to make certain decisions, right, in their favor, in favor of Israel. You got to understand this. It's extremely important to know. Now, is this all of the Jewish people, all of the Ashkenazi Jews? No. I want to make a clear, distinct separation from the Ashkenazi Jews, the Jewish individuals in Israel, and the leadership, which call themselves Zionists, who actually run IPAC. You understand what I mean? Zionists and their agenda is pushed totally different as to where the Jewish individuals in Israel disagree totally. A lot of them disagree. You got to know this. A lot of them disagree with the Zionist agenda. I know that the picture here is that's painted in the U.S. and things like that is that it's all of them as a people. We have to understand that it's not. It's the Ashkenazi Zionists who are running the APAC corporation that is currently paying a lot of our politicians to do things that's not in America's favor, but that is in Jewish favor. You understand what I'm saying? Israel's favor. And there's a lot of times these things are not very beneficial to Americans. You know what I mean? Now, since they've been established as a country, you got to understand that they have been looking to run or to manipulate American minds, control American minds. That's the reason why they are involved in a lot of our media that we know here today, right? Our news, our entertainment, things like that. Especially here in the Black community, they understand who the true chosen people are. So the most affected community is the melanated or Black community. Okay. Just based on rap music, based on other things, other genres that has perpetuated other atrocities onto our community. where we're promoting, murder, a mass genocide of each other, right? Of one another, people, men and women who look just like us. We don't even trust each other anymore because of the way that it was done. I can remember the times, and I can look back and reminisce from videos of watching things on YouTube, from the days of Malcolm X, from the days of Martin Luther King, from the days where we stuck together, we band together, where we were segregated. Not to say that it was right, but to say that we were, honestly, we had no other choice but to stick together. We had no other choice. The influence was totally different. The leadership was totally different. The leadership was morely based on the people and not based on the wealth that the people can give the leadership. The leadership was standing up for something that truly mattered, which is the fight for the cause, not only for their own families, for a better future for their generations, and also for the rest of the people that surrounded them. Because we had a tight knit community that was morally understanding this, right? We knew each other a little bit more. We said hello to each other when we walked out the door. We broke bread with each other. We used to borrow sugar from each other. You don't see that anymore these days. As to where somebody goes and knocks on a neighbor door and say, "Hey, can I get a cup of sugar? Hey, can I get a box of macaroni?" There's you don't see it anymore these days, to where a family is going without, right? And the next door neighbors are somebody who comes through for them and helps them provide, helps them do certain things to keep them up on their feet. Like, this was the sort of cohesion that we've had during those times in which we so have lost tremendously. And it's scarce to find, just based on the systematic brainwashing, mind washing after the mass genocide, or after the assassination of our leaders that did not care about wealth. I didn't see Malcolm X rolling around in Maybach Bentleys and wearing gold rings and gold chains and flying private jets and doing all these other things. I didn't see Martin Luther King buying YSL, buying Gucci, Louis, Prada, doing all these things to mass wealth upon himself to make himself look good. You know what I mean? I saw these two men who were sacrificing all and willing to put their life on the line for their own community, and they were doing so in a state of humility. And I hope these men found peace. You understand what I'm saying? Because I believe that the generation that we have here today, the community that we have here today, is not what they envisioned for us. They didn't have this in their visions. When Martin Luther King gave that I had a dream speech, he did not dream of this. Did not dream of our community being in the state that it's in currently, where we've hit heavy, not only through the drug wars. You understand what I'm saying? But through big brother giving us benefits and privileges like welfare, things of that nature that has crippled our community, as well as has taken out and assassinated a lot of our leadership that has a whole heart for the community. If they can identify them, then CIA would pin them, mark them, and do what they can to infiltrate. The ones who are more concerned about their own wealth and amassing wealth upon themselves are the ones who flourish and thrive, and they go untouched for a while because they need to do more damage to their own community. You understand what I'm saying? They need to do more damage to their own community, more damage to the trust of the community, more damage to the faith, and being able to be faithful in the things of the Most High. Yeah. So this is all played a part, of course, heavily influenced by Zionists, who have orchestrated a lot of these things. You understand what I'm saying? Even the deception that they gave to Martin Luther King and believing that desegregation was the answer, right, to the community's problems, when in fact, to take the black dollar out of the black community and stop it from circulating in the black community was the solution, right, to a problem that the Zionists were having, which is the control of that community. They couldn't control us. We were amassing too much wealth. We were building and growing too quickly. We were flourishing and thriving with doctors and lawyers and things like that, right? Black Law, Wall Street, becoming extremely successful, as we are, extremely talented as well, right? They saw this and it was not a very good thing. And then so they devised a plan, followed a plan to pick us apart, to rip us from our very foundations, to where we could not recover. and it will take us a long time to recover. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to go over that a bit. And I believe Candace Owens really did peel back some of the layers on this thing. I want you guys to take a listen as to what she had to say in regards to the situation. And we're going to go ahead to it. Just remember Revelations 2:9-3-9. Okay. I know that works. I know that probably, but that are rich. Yeah, I know those who say that they're Jews, but do lie. They are the synagogue of Satan. I mean, this is what was said. This is what was written, right? Not necessarily verbatim, but you know what I mean. Paraphrasing it. So let's go ahead and get into this thing real quick. We're going to go ahead and play the clip. Let's get it.
Find it. I just told you, Ami Magazine. Google it. Ami Magazine talking about
all right.
Blackmailed in one fellow swoop the Bushes, the Rockefellers, and the Dulles family. Okay. And he's published a book on it. So you can go, you actually apparently can't get this book in America. It's hard to get your hands on in Canada, but you maybe would be able to find a digital copy of The Witness Tree. I have not read this book, by the way. I've only read this article. When I read this article, I was mind blown. And genuinely, I was just going like, I'm trying to connect with dots here. Like America clearly got occupied at some point. And I don't understand what could have possibly happened. Like, how did all of these American companies suddenly become completely subjugated? And it seems like we're just constantly doing Israel's bidding. And I find this article and my mind is blown. And this is not anti-Semitism, my friends. This is Ami Magazine. It's very Jewish. Okay. I probably wasn't even allowed to read it. I'm not an Orthodox Jew. I don't even know if I'm allowed to read it, but I read it. And now you're going to read it and things are getting crazy. So you just have to accept that these are the facts. This is not a conspiracy theory. No one can debunk this article. So the reason why Dovey, Reuven's son, was coming to Reuven was because Jim explained that Dove wanted to talk to me about his father, who had died at the age of 49. So apparently Reuven Shiloh had died at the age of 49 when he was only 18 years old. When the video call started, Dove said to me, "I think you may know more about my dad than I do." And then he looked at him. At this time, Dove was really old. Dove was 80 years old. And he said, "How do you deny an 80-year-old man the truth about his father?" So we began to talk. And then he tells him about his dad and how that was then, now you can look into Nelson Rockefeller's involvement in getting, like I said, them to vote on allowing Israel to become a nation. And another piece comes together. Okay. And here's my perspective. Israel's been corrupt since its founding. I don't know how anyone could deny that. And when you learn that these methods have been employed forever and that they had their hand in the CIA via Alan Dulles directing policy, it just becomes even more crystal clear. And like I said, they're just involved in so many blackmail scandals. Remember the Matt Gaetz story? Do you remember? Find that episode on my podcast after this. My mind was blown. Thinking about what happened to Matt Gaetz for no reason at all. We're covering why Matt Gaetz is no longer going to be a part of the Trump admin. And out of nowhere, we get an Israel blackmail story. I was like, why is Israel always involved in every story pertaining to blackmail? Because they've been running a very sophisticated blackmail op. That's just the reality of things. And they desperately didn't want to register. AIPAC, so desperate. I'm not saying that this had to do with JFK's assassination, but I'm just helping you guys put pieces together by just asking questions. Dun, dun, dun. How dare you ask questions? So here's.
All right. So as you can see, as you hear, and as you also have an opportunity to read it for yourself now, you got to know that also JFK was one of the ones who wanted to put a tag on our AIPAC, right? Who wanted to put a tag on Zionists, who wanted to he wanted to be fully aware of their comings and goings. He wanted to see what exactly was going on because the inner workings were corrupt, and they're extremely vastly corrupt. And he noticed these different issues, these different problems, the level of corrupt that truly was. If you go look back at some of the JFK speeches, right, a few of them that he gave, he was highly concerned about Zionists and things like that, and getting them registered, getting them someone who they could really put under a microphone glass or under a glass, whatever, who they could really focus on. Who they could really focus on, right, and heavily scrutinize and see what they're doing in the United States, see where their money is going, things like that, and why they here are making an influence. And so when JFK's assassination took place, it was extremely odd, right? because who would have wanted him dead? I know that he stood for, of course, the melanated individual, the black people and their rights, the civil rights movement. He was somebody who was a figure who was involved in that and actually was an advocate for it as well. I know that you guys don't, all you black Hebrew Israelites out there who are IUIC and the rest of them who feel like they Edomites, white people and things like that. No, there's been a lot of white individuals or white men, white women who supported you in your fight for freedom and your fight for equality, whatever it may be. And identifying the ones who did stand in the gap is extremely important as well for our history, right? Because you want to give credit where credit's due. Is that not what the book says? So JFK was one of those ones who stood in the gap and actually was a part of supporting the support of equal rights for Black Americans here. But they all speculated that he was assassinated based on that support. That's just not it, though. That wasn't the only thing that he was assassinated for. You understand what I'm saying? That was a part of it. But to tear apart the infrastructure of the Black community, right, was something that was definitely organized by Zionists, right? And it's continuously being revealed that they had a huge part to play in that. Which forcing drugs into our communities, as well as the rap music and promoting that, advertising that, making that something more mainstream, right? That really did cause a lot of harm to the community. But not only was he taken out for that, but also because he was pushing hard to have Israel register, have AIPAC register and reveal who they truly are, what their real business is. And they were actually actively paying politicians to vote in their favor, to rule in their favor, and to make decisions in their favor, right? And a lot of times, if there was something going on, they would want to have dibs on that. But not only that, based on the information that has surfaced in regards to bribing some of these world power families, right? Like the Rockefellers, things like that. Bribing these particular families in order to establish their country, establish themselves in Israel. Because we all know once they got to Israel, the Palestinians said, "Hey, you left here black and you came back white. What happened?" And so they've been at war since. You understand what I'm saying? They've been at odds since. And so they had, not only did these people have to go into that land of Israel, right? Currently is trodden down by the Gentiles, okay, until all be fulfilled. But they had to go into that country and take it. Y'all didn't place them back into that land. They bribed their way back into that land. Once they got there, they bombed the hell out of whoever was there. They waged war with whoever was there, and they did whatever they could to destabilize their populations as well, so they can take over Israel. And this is just kind of what it is. This is historically proven now. These are facts that are coming out, and even more facts are coming out more and more each day. And this is not somebody who's writing about this that's anti-Semitic, right? Whatever that's supposed to mean, right? Who's anti-Jewish, anti-Zionist, whatever it may be, anti-whatever. These are them writing about themselves. You understand what I'm saying? This is the Jewish people within that country writing about how they were established. This is the reason why I say not a lot of them agree with the Zionist movement, with the Zionist Jews in the way that they are conducting themselves. Okay, they're not only trying to force, homosexuality within Israel. Okay, they don't agree with that homosexuality. You know what I mean? But Zionists are forcing that within Israel. They're painting the image that Israel is supporting and backing the alphabet community, when in fact they are not. They are not supporting them. They are not backing them. They don't even want that in their country. Same as Europe, same as here in America. It's the same thing. So when people are writing about the truth, right, as to how they were established through blackmail. You understand what I'm saying? They bribed their way into forming a country in Israel. It wasn't that the Most High was able to get them there. Like it says in the book, that he will place us back in the lands. This further confirms the truth in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. This further confirms and backs it up, as we know that all truth shall be revealed in due time, right? All truth shall be revealed. Now, I'm pretty sure this made everybody proud who are truth tellers, right? Who are people who are labeled to be conspiracy theorists. We no longer conspiracy theorists. Now we're more of the upper echelon, the more intelligent folks within the community. You understand what I'm saying? The ones who have autonomy, who can think. And we already know that once you strip the autonomy away from the mind, that is the destruction of that mind. So my thing is this, right? How did the individuals who are labeled conspiracy theorists now become some of the wisest people in the country? That's very interesting, right? The people who can truly discern a situation. Now it's totally different. But it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. There's nothing that you can really dispute the facts now. Now, before, when it was all sealed up and was locked up, right? Classified files, you couldn't get the truth to come out. Now that they have been declassified and the truth has been revealed, all of a sudden now there is no such thing as conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist. Anybody who will be speaking like me right now will be labeled a conspiracy theorist. Anybody else who literally are talking about the things that they have been talking about for over a decade now. You understand what I'm saying? They were labeled to be conspiracy theories up until a couple years now. You understand what I'm saying? Not too long ago, it was also labeled as disinformation. And we've now debunked and proven that that was the Biden administration or the government that was pushing these fact checkers to label a lot of the truth, especially when it comes out with COVID. You understand what I'm saying? To be disinformation. They labeled that, knowing that they were absolutely wrong, knowing that they did not have the proof and evidence to prove that it was disinformation. But they forced these individuals within the social media to label a lot of the truth tellers as giving disinformation, right? Shutting a lot of accounts down, wreaking a lot of havoc and giving a lot of problems within the communities, right? On social media and things like that. In fact, it was so bad that a lot of people, due to their lack of better judgment, went out and got these booster shots and then received some real medical issues afterwards. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to know how to be cognitive. I thought that was really interesting, y'all. I thought that was very interesting that, more and more information about these Zionists, about these Jewish people and how they established their community over in Israel. The land is being trodden down by the Gentiles until all be fulfilled. How it came about. All right, y'all. So I'm saying, but we're going to see what y'all got to say about this. All right. So, JFK was also gonna expose the secret. Okay, yep, the secret societies. In his very last speech, he stated that there was no place in the U.S. for secret societies. Yep. He was doing a lot of stuff and shaking up some grounds, y'all. I just learned that this week there is a sector that don't agree with them. Absolutely. They definitely getting pushback from within, but you wouldn't cover it, right? There's a lot of things that the United States won't cover, but they'll only cover what the Zionists would allow you to see. That's the reason why we don't see it. We don't see a lot of things because that's the only thing we're allowed to see. We're allowed to see what the Zionists, even now, like if you go to look up Jewish individuals or Jewish anything, you won't find a bunch of negative photos. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know you're going to find nothing but a bunch of positive photos of them smiling, of them doing a lot of different things that's just extremely positive. You won't see photos of them frowning, of them angry, or of them shouting at each other, whatever it may be. You won't see a whole lot of that because they've made sure that their public image is going to always be pristine. I've looked, trust me. It's the way that they present themselves. They want to be sure that but if you go take a look at any other community, right? Even some of the other communities like, the white community or Asian or whatever, you can find certain photos that are not very good representation of those communities, right? But the Zionists, the Jewish individuals, you won't be able to find a bunch of negative photos. It's right away. It's a bunch of smiling photos and bunch of everything, right? That represents them well. You understand? And I remember not too long ago, it was a few years back, where if you were to Google like black men, then you would see a bunch of I guess people who were in jail and stuff like that, who've been in prison, who've been incarcerated. It's just everything was an extremely negative outlook, right? Angry, upset, gangbangers, things like that, right? That was the representation on Google for black men. Same thing with black women. It was a very negative representation, okay? And we were the only community that was really portrayed to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Like off rip. Now don't get me wrong, other communities also had some negative photos, but it wasn't until like really you got to really search for them. But with our community, it was right up top, right up front. As soon as you get there, that's what was portrayed about us, almost as though that's what the algorithm wanted everybody else to see that was not a part of our community. Okay. I think they've since changed that though. I think they've been trying to put more positive photos up rather than negative now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're gonna but that's what I really wanted to share with you guys on that particular topic, y'all. I'm gonna keep my eyes open on it, and I think there's some other things that have been coming out with the JFK files that we should also know. You understand what I'm saying? You should know that you chose right, that you understand that you've come to the knowledge of the truth, and everything that the scriptures are speaking about is playing out right in front of our eyes. And our best bet is just to get right with the Father and be sure that we're walking in that light, okay? Walking in that light. Now,